Coming up on today's show, we discuss the recent lawsuit that Disney was involved in. We discuss the party events availability, a little bit of hotel availability that we've noticed that was an odd pattern. This and more on Traveling with the Mouse. Welcome, everyone, to episode number 465 of Traveling with the Mouse. I am your host this week. My name is John. I am joined, as always, by Adam.
What's up, everybody?
How are you doing tonight, Adam?
Wonderful.
So, a story that actually came out while we were still busy gushing, or I guess you could call it, is it gushing over... It wasn't really gushing over D23.
It was...
D23 was kind of like,
thinking
all
about...
all our theories about where stuff was going.
Our attention
over the
was
last
there,
couple of weeks.
for sure.
But there was a story in the regular news cycle.
Yes.
Involving Disney making a claim.
Right.
Well, let me just pick a headline from any one of them. Here's the first one I come across was from the 15th. It was NBC News. Disney says man can't sue over wife's death because he agreed to Disney Plus terms of service. That's the headline.
Yeah. A little misleading, honestly, just saying.
Well, what Disney was referring to, they were trying to go to arbitration based on the subscription guidelines or the terms and conditions. Now, how is that part misleading, though?
I mean...
That is what they tried to do, was it not?
Right, but the headline that you just read was Disney tries to avoid lawsuit. What did you say it was? Avoid...
All right, let me go back, because it was the first one from that time period. That I just went to the first one I scrolled across. Disney says man can't sue over wife's death because
That's
of it.
not...
So that part's not entirely true. You're right. That is a headline.
It's a little misleading.
Because they could still... They were actually trying to do... Well, what a lot of companies actually do, right or wrong, is go to arbitration because the clients agree to it.
It's better for them legally, and so it helps keep things under wraps. It usually is faster. You don't have to disclose, you don't have to go through the court system, which takes forever sometimes,
But as always,
it's understandable.
Public perception
Definitely
factors in.
Yeah, and that's why Disney backed out of that. But, so should we mention what it was, just in case anybody forgot what the story was about or didn't hear about it? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple that had gone to Disney, and what was it, October of last year? I think it was.
I forgot the exact date.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact date, but it says it was in October so she died in October, so it had to have, since she died within... 24 hours, or within a matter of less than that, a matter of hours.
It was a few hours after,
Yeah.
At Eating at Raglan Road.
Right.
Disney Springs.
Yeah.
And that's, ultimately, that's the tragedy is a person died. Like, that's what we should not forget instead of talking about.
Right. And that's another one of the reasons why I think they withdrew their request.
Yeah. DeMauro had a statement, I forgot the exact quote, but it was basically, we value human life and care about people and that kind of thing.
Well, let's be honest, this was a lawyer-approved statement, I'm sure.
Yes. But what was interesting about that statement was he said, and in this case, we are going to drop the arbitration.
Right. Okay, well, here's the quote. It says, with such unique circumstances as ones in this case, we believe this situation warrants a sensitive approach to expedite a resolution for the family who have experienced such a painful loss.
Right.
Well, he also says to expedite. But doesn't this
could take forever?
Technically, make this take longer in a way. Anyway, at the end of it, he says, as such, we've decided to waive our right to arbitration. So,
yeah.
Initially, Disney argued that the legal findings that the matter should be settled by an outside arbitrator because Mr. Piccolo had agreed to settle any disputes out of the court when he signed up for a free trial of its streaming service on his PlayStation, and again when he purchased tickets to Epcot through My Disney website.
Right.
So,
So I can see why Disney lawyers attempted to enforce that because
Mhm.
it would be better for Disney in that case. So why wouldn't they try that? Of course, once it got out to the somewhat misleading headlines, that's when they backpedaled on it.
Mhm.
I can't really say one way or the other is better. Like lawyers being lawyers on the one hand, and on the other hand, there is a person's life that, is lost here. So I don't know.
I wonder if we'll ever publicly get to hear anything else regarding this now, because the truth be told, the headline,
Yeah.
that grabbed attention, is now over with, pretty
Right.
much. So I just find it hard to believe that any news
Yeah. There's nothing
source,
interesting to say about it now.
right? Yeah, I find it hard to believe that any news source is going to pick this back up with
Right.
the actual case.
Which just goes to show you how our news media operates. It's headlines and
Yeah,
stories that get attention.
right. And but when it's all said and done, I'll be curious to see what the arguments are. But I don't know that I'm ever going to be able to find anything on this unless I'm actually in the courtroom. So
Yeah, you'll have to pull up like court documents in
something
Florida,
obscure.
try and find it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it won't be easy.
In this particular story, this is a story from the New York Times. A guy named Matt Adler.
Mm-hmm.
He's a partner at Troutman Pepper who regularly represents clients in arbitration.
Mm-hmm.
His claim is that it's uncommon for a party to withdraw their arbitration request and let a judge really decide one way or the other. His reasoning is because they're usually upheld.
Right.
But he did say this one was a bit of a stretch. I don't know what that means. I think he means that Disney was trying to stretch it, or Disney's lawyers. I mean, we're trying to stretch to get this into arbitration.
Yeah.
And I don't know. You would think they should have at least considered the fact that this would make public headlines. It's not like Disney has had any problems with their reputation in recent years. But anyway, basically, their guess was that it was, for what we just said, suffering in the public eye was greater. It was greater than the risk of losing money. So
Totally. Yeah.
he still was surprised.
That they pulled back. Well, yeah, I think it was because the backlash online was heavy.
Well, what would be interesting regarding the case is that Disney's only role in this is landlord, what their claims are. But
Right.
I don't know that that's going to hold up.
Yeah, because the website does have, you can reserve dining at that restaurant through Disney's app, and the website does say that they will attempt to accommodate all dietary, restrictions and
Right.
allergies and that kind of thing. But my experience seeing how Disney restaurants respond to anyone who has allergy requests or dietary needs, like I've seen the chef come out and talk to people to make sure they're getting it right. This didn't seem to happen based on what I read on this story. The server said, yeah, I'll make sure and I'll talk to the chef. And then it was kind of like, yeah, everything's fine. Even when they brought the food out, they were like, they should have had like markers on, little flags in the food to say that this was, and they weren't there. And they were like, are you sure this is good? And the guy was like, yep, perfectly fine. And then 2 hours later, person, had a reaction and everything. So it's not the experience I've seen when people have dietary requests at Disney owned and operated restaurants. So I do think that Disney goes above and beyond what other places do. I'll just put it that way. So maybe Disney's trying to protect their reputation a little bit too in that regard.
Maybe, but I would be curious to see, because if I'm not mistaken,
Mm-hmm.
and I could be wrong, but I want to say that when you eat at a place like, say, Rainforest, I think, like, say, the receipts and anything have basically Disney markings or whatever you want to call it
Yeah.
on them and stuff like that, like logos.
Sure.
And do they not call these same people cast members? Because I swear I saw the name tags that are similar, but I may have changed over the years. Maybe I'm wrong.
I've not been at Raglan Road, so I don't know for sure if they consider them cast members, but I've never eaten there.
I'm trying to remember, based on what I've seen in some of those restaurants that I know are not official Disney restaurants, right?
I mean, there's plenty of shops I've
few.
been in that they're not cast members. They're just regular employees that work at, unless it's like World of Disney or something. But
But once again, I think Disney's name is all over this. You do everything through their site. It's not
Yeah.
separate. They kind of set the standard too with each of
Right.
these places. I find it hard to believe they're going to escape
Yeah.
liability.
Right. I don't think they were trying to get out of paying anything. I think they were just trying to keep it out of the courts, but
Right. Which, it is interesting, the wording, though, in that Disney Plus agreement,
yeah.
in
It's
my
very
opinion.
broad. It's like if anything in your life
Pretty much.
that has, once you sign up for Disney Plus or any Disney account for that matter, you're
So
agreeing
this is
to.
this is kind of like the AI overview, but it says the Disney Plus subscriber agreement is subject to the terms and conditions of Disney Plus and ESPN Plus. I find it interesting that they don't include Hulu in the words any so far, because I would think that's.
You'd think too,
Anyway,
right?
the agreement may include arbitration, where subscribers agree to arbitrate any past, present, or future issues. Disney Plus subscribers can cancel their subscription at any time, effective at the end of their current payment period, and there are no commitments. So, other than they were trying to say that this particular person, they tried to use two instances. One, the ticket, which I don't know what the ticket one says.
Right.
The second
Disney
was
Plus.
they actually threw in the Disney Plus one, even though he only trialed it once
Right.
on a PlayStation specifically. I don't know why they threw that in there, but yeah.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
It sounds bad, but I don't think the headlines were.
well, it's pretty much over with, I think, for now. I don't think anything's ever going to come back in the public eye on this particular case, but we'll see.
We probably won't even remember to follow up on it because,
Yeah.
it's not going to be in the news because it's not an interesting enough story at this
Yeah.
point.
I can't help it, but I'm reminded of, what was that? Wasn't that a South Park episode where they were talking about the iTunes agreement, right?
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah.
I
You
forgot what it
agreed
was.
to.
It was agreed to.
Yes.
I
It
think
was ridiculous stuff.
I'm trying to remember. Didn't it have something to do with that? What was that movie where the human centipede or whatever? Wasn't that the one involved in that one?
I don't remember,
I
but
think it was.
I just remember everything was like, yeah, you agreed to that in the iTunes. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Nobody agreed. Nobody reads that. And
Yeah,
it's true.
there's no telling what I've agreed to
Yeah,
in the past.
right. And speaking of, I probably got 4 emails today from different places saying, oh, we're updating our terms and conditions, just so you know. It's like even if you didn't agree to something, they update them all the time. And so you never know what they are throwing in there. And
well, you agreed to them before we updated them, so
right, exactly. You've already agreed to this. We're changing. It's like when Darth Vader was like, "I'm altering the deal." Probably didn't alter it any further.
He is on the team now. So.
Yeah, exactly.
So Disney. That's what somebody should have thought of that meme. It's like,
yeah,
I'm altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it further.
We can still put it out there. Yeah, I mean that's kind of.
He's no good to me dead.
Right. But it's like if you didn't agree to this stuff, then you couldn't do anything. It's like I can't even have a phone or a computer anymore. Like if I don't.
Yeah. If you don't sign your life away.
Right, exactly.
Well, for the most part, they have to be somewhat reasonable. That's why we have lawyers. So
I suppose we've got to pay those lawyers.
We shouldn't have to have lawyers.
The blood-sucking lawyers.
Right. The only one on my side.
Yeah.
That's because you were the owner of the park.
Yes.
I've noticed how, I know he's supposedly supposed to be out in a few years still, even though we don't know who the next successor is going to be. Although they did announce a new person to head up the, it was weird. It was almost like the headline was like, oh, we've announced the replacement. But no, they were just announcing a new person to
look for
it. Yeah. To look for the replacement. Looking high and low.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Although based on the person who seems to be thrown out there to answer absolutely everything now, it would seem like DeMauro is the CEO in waiting, but I'm not so sure that's going to happen, to be honest. We'll see.
Yeah, because DeMauro is a little sneaky himself, as D23 proved. He
deceptive.
Very deceptive in front of the audience. Don't want to say anything.
Yeah.
So who knows, what's going to happen when some of these projects may get canceled or scaled back, or then what? What are you going to say?
Who knows?
And how are they going to explain?
Yeah, it got quiet all of a sudden after the announcements, didn't it?
Yeah, it
Like
did.
now it's like we're in a period where like they're not saying anything.
Yeah.
It's like this is
So,
like a watch and see
right, I
type
think they're
deal.
just seeing what people's reactions were for one, too.
Maybe they could potentially be in for having to, we'll say, navigate a bit of a down period
Yeah.
coming up. It seems to be at least. We know August has become light, but August, there's been a couple of days here recently where August was really light, like lightest I've seen in a while.
Yeah, there was one day last week you were talking about how low everything looked, and I looked at the touring plans the next day, and the crowd thing was a 2. It was, I think, a 2.
Mhm.
2 out of 10.
Well, yeah, we'll just look at the recent. I'm looking at a 10-day right now. The highest that Magic Kingdom has for a day is 4, and most of them are 3s and 2s.
Yeah. I mean, school's starting back in a lot of places.
And these are usually estimates that they do. They do this on totally different data, actually.
Mhm.
They don't usually, you know what I mean? They don't usually adjust
Yeah.
on the fly, I
Right.
don't think.
It's
So,
also super hot in August. It's probably July and August are probably the hottest 2 months. It's hurricane season.
this one's, at least if you look at temperatures as of recent, it's not as bad as it could have been.
Right,
Put it
and
that way.
especially here, last week was amazing,
Yeah.
the weather, but
And
that was
I've heard this week was supposed to be like much hotter, but I'm like, yeah, it's somewhat, but the mornings and evenings are still rather cool.
yeah. I think tomorrow's supposed to be 97 though. But anyway, it's hot, hurricane season, school's starting back, and it looks like October. Everyone's going in October, so apparently.
Well, it appears, but I don't know. I feel like that's just weird, right? Because I was telling you, I was like, this is just odd that there's like such little availability showing. There's something wrong with that. It reminds me of the Chapek era when they were holding things,
Yeah, where they
which
just,
I thought we were done with. So I don't
yeah, who
know,
knows?
because it's, and the other thing that's weird is like you have to like go through this like coded system or whatever to get the results. Like, let's say for example, if I were to go right now, like I already have something booked, right? If I were to go right now
Mhm.
and go to the site and just search all the hotels, nothing shows availability. Absolutely nothing for the same
Right,
dates that I already have something booked. However, if I decide to go choose one, it shows me some availability. And then
right.
when I go back to the regular search, oh, then there's availability showing. It's so odd. It's like they want to make you do extra steps or extra work to find out what's
Yeah.
really available. Okay, so I'm just doing this like it says nothing, and I'm going to check, say, Polynesian. Okay,
Mhm.
this is going to be for October the 10th through the 14th, over the holiday weekend, right?
Okay.
So if I specifically look for Poly, I can find a room, albeit a club level room, for $11.05.25 a night.
Wow.
Now, if I hit change, right, and then I go back to choose all resorts and hit find a room for the exact same time period,
Yeah.
now I have options. That Poly room is showing, but there's also a Kidani Village option showing, and that's pretty much it on this one. Earlier, there was also an Old Key West showing, but it's like every day the inventory changes, and that can't be all because of cancellation. I just find that I refuse to believe that.
Yeah. Weird.
I don't know what game they're playing here,
Yeah.
but
It is the holiday weekend, so right, so I don't know
it's
if
this is like something you would find. You don't even find this at Christmas, right?
yeah, I mean you would
This
think
far out. Like if I were to search, let's just say I were to go ahead, like here we are, we're coming up on three months, right? If I were to search the week of Christmas, I bet I find more availability. Let me just humor me here and let's just see what we got. I have options at pretty much everywhere.
yeah,
And this is supposedly the busiest time of the year.
interesting, you know.
It makes no sense. And I could try what's really the busiest week is the one after, right? The one in between. So let's just say
Yeah.
the 29th through the January the 4th, just because that's the ones that it gave me, right? Now, granted, this is also the highest rates of the whole year, right? Is going to be during this
Yeah.
time. But again, availability absolutely everywhere. I don't know. Something seems a little fishy about that. I just refuse to believe that a holiday weekend in October is so slammed that you can't find something, but Christmas is not. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
right. Is there some kind of convention there? I don't know what's happening. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe we'll see as it gets closer as to what they do. What I don't know why they would be holding anything, because during this time period they also did a promotion that I don't think we talked about,
Hmm.
which is, if you get in, you had a discount for a package, but you also, if you chose 4 days tickets, you got the park hopping upgrade for free, right?
Yeah.
So you basically
Right.
paid for park hopper for whatever the base for four
Hmm.
days was
Which is
in the package.
definitely a good deal.
Well, it's a $500 almost 400,
Hmm.
at least $400 difference than what
Yeah,
it would be, right? So
it's a good deal.
although you had to have 4 days on there, you couldn't have done less, or else they still charged you. So
Right, I see. But still, I mean, they're going to do more stuff like that next year for sure to try and get people to stay longer so that they don't do more at
don't be
Universal,
at universe. Maybe.
Like, oh, if you
You
stay
know,
4 days at Disney and go to each park, you'll get like super cheap tickets or park hopper or
see, this is another one that kind of confuses me because, all right, let's just say we're still, because right now we're roughly 2 months out from that, right? We're inside of 2 months, but
yeah,
isn't it a little unbelievable that you can't find any availability at, say, Caribbean Beach that has like a massive amount of
yeah.
rooms,
Or Coronado, it's
or
always an easy one.
Coronado that has a massive amount of rooms? Really Pop has a massive amount of rooms, truthfully.
Yeah,
It just doesn't seem realistic, I don't
yeah.
think, that they don't have any availability in any of these places. I mean, what's your thoughts on that? I mean, would you find that hard to believe that they're that busy, that they're that booked?
Yeah, because it's showing that like they're completely sold out. So it's a little odd.
Why are they not sold out at, say, the Halloween parties?
Some of them are, but yeah, in that
Not
weekend, I don't
October.
know. Yeah.
The only
That,
one in October that I know of is the 31st, right? Isn't it sold out? I mean, that's the only one I remember hearing about, but I
I
might
know
even
a
be wrong
few
on
have
that one.
sold out, but yeah, good question.
Anyway, I find it hard to believe.
All
Then
right.
again, maybe I'm in denial because I'm going there in that time period, but
Uh,
and hoping for the best.
hoping it won't be super
But
crowded.
yeah,
I want to look really quick at Swan Dolphin just out of curiosity.
see what they have showing.
By the way, their site is worse than Disney's. Ugh, their site is so bad.
um, touring plans predictability is not tens for that time period. I'll just say that.
Yeah. So what is that?
So I don't. Yeah,
If anybody
something's
knows.
up with that.
So you can stay at the the Dolphin for $272 a night that weekend, October 10th through the 14th. That's, of course, they have double beds, two double beds, no view. I love that they have no view rooms.
Like you're not gonna see anything.
Yeah. You see a brick wall outside of the.
That's what it makes it sound like.
If you want a resort view, $297, $315 for a balcony, for a king bed, $328. So there's tons of availability at the Dolphin that weekend. So that makes you also go. So
Right,
the
things that make
Dolphin
you go,
has plenty of availability. So what's the deal?
I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's a mystery.
I almost feel like it's a strategy, like they're in a wait and see type mode before they release availability, you know?
I guess. I
And is
mean,
it one of these things where they're releasing these high priced rooms like a little bit at a time just to get people to bite on them? That'd be a little deceptive if that was the case.
holy Moses! And look, for some reason, the Swan is very expensive.
Hmm.
About $1,700 a night. That doesn't make sense.
Seven. The Swan? What kind of room is that?
It says no view. Traditional guest room, one king, no
For
view.
$1,700 a night?
That's what it says.
Something. Okay. Would you pay that?
No, I wouldn't pay $17 to stay at the Swan. Again, sorry. Now, Swan Reserve is a lot
He's like,
nicer, but
he's like, I wouldn't bet on the Swan to start with the letter S.
yeah, right. Indeed. Okay, so Swan Reserve though, $289 a night. No view. They have no view rooms at the Swan Reserve too.
I'm just
But
trying to figure out what that means. Like, you got to be looking at something, don't you?
yeah,
I mean, what are they blocking your view?
I mean, there's like a
Like,
palm
you
tree
paid less, so
outside,
we took your view away.
right? Yeah, exactly.
We put like a curtain over it.
Yeah, right. Just
Uh,
because
I'm like, what?
you pay $20 less a night, so you get no view. We block your view intentionally.
Anyway,
But yeah, $300 a night at Swan Reserve. Like I would stay at Swan Reserve. Those rooms look pretty nice actually.
yeah.
But anyway,
So one thing I'm a little bit hopeful for, just because I would like to do it at least once,
yeah,
is I've seen availability on Space 220 like day of. So I feel like I
right.
don't see any like right now, but I feel like maybe as we get closer, I think one of the things with that restaurant, and probably a lot of them, is when people drop like the day before or something like that.
Yeah,
If they drop reservations, that you find availability.
yeah. It's
I'm
that
thinking I might could get a good time there if I, look last minute, so to speak.
even
So
same day because they changed the cancellation policy to the 2 hours. Is it?
the two, oh yeah, you're talking about how closer to the time. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
you have a 2 hour now. So anything outside of that, so within 24 hours, a lot of people change their plans if they're going to, and so
right.
Jason and I went when we went to Space 220 January this year, I think it was. It was the same day switch. We found it popped up, so we switched it over, and because I think we had like via Napoli or something, and we switched it. I think you'll have a good possibility of getting it.
So I'm looking right now. This is obviously late in one evening, but I'm looking for tomorrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for tomorrow, there is lunchtimes available. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 options available for lunch. It doesn't show any dinners because I did search all day, but it doesn't show any dinners right now. But I could eat lunch there. I have 4 different options,
Mm-hmm.
right? If I were to go tomorrow. And then if I were to just look, let's just say the day after,
Yeah.
and look all day, there's lunch and dinner times available. So, the closer, and it could just be because it's been slow there too right now, could be the reason. But I feel like the closer you get to the actual times, there's more
Yeah.
availability.
People shift their plans, and I think speaks to the fact that a lot of people overbook before they go because they want to have options, and when they
Right,
get
right.
there, they cancel the ones that don't fit their plan once they get there. Because on any given Disney day, nothing's going to go exactly the way you want it to go or plan it to go. There's always going to be things that change. And sometimes you book in advance and you're like, wait, how far away is this restaurant that we booked for dinner in 2 hours? Like, I'm not going over there, or,
Yeah.
And then sometimes you have intentions like, oh, well, it'll be great to go to Disney Springs that night. But it's like, when you're there, you're like, I'm too tired. Like, I just want to go to the food court and call it a night,
Right.
So that happens all the time, understandably.
Yeah. I've noticed that like just about anywhere else other than Space 220, I mean, you're going to find availability. All the ones I can think of, I saw something available, no matter when I chose. So the all day search option is one of the best things they've done for dining in forever.
Yeah, that's nice. It's better to see that. I love being able to see that.
Yeah.
I do have an update, though. You were talking about the party dates. I see the ones now that are sold out. So to correct earlier what we said, October 11th is sold out, that date. 10th is still available as of the recording of this episode. 10th and 14th still available for October. The 8th and the 11th are sold out. So those are the only dates aside from the last two, 29th and 31st of October. Of course, that one always sells out.
Which means that Friday, the daytime, Magic Kingdom should be pretty light.
Yep. It's always a great day to go Magic Kingdom. It's morning
Oh
of
man,
party.
I've been trying to look and keeping up with the most recent party dates. You want to talk dead? They have been dead on party days in August.
Yeah. But all of them have sold out for August as well.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, I guess they all have. Yeah.
yeah, but it's weird that Magic Kingdom, like when we every time we look at the numbers, right? Every year, it's the one that's visited the most, right?
Yeah.
But yet, when you're looking at most recent, like touring plans, for instance, estimates, like there's not a single day in which it is the highest number. It's always the other parks.
Hmm.
Not a single day when it's predicted to be busier than any of the other three. So
Interesting.
that's interesting.
Yeah. I think it's also interesting that the party sold out basically every date from now until September 15th. And that's basically all of the lower price party dates. The price starts going up starting September 17th and continues to go up by October. Like, it's insanely expensive. Right now, the next available party date is September 17th, and the closest to Halloween that's still available is October 27th. But it's $199 a ticket
Yeah.
for that date.
I've just the more the parties that I see and I look at, I just don't think that they've added enough stuff to say that I would want
Yeah.
to pay that.
And can you imagine spending $200 a person to go there and like stand in line for a character meet and greet for an hour and a half, or
Right. And
or
some of the character meet and greets are the appeals, right, I
right,
think. But at the same time, I just can't see paying that kind of money to just do that.
right,
Because what you'd end up doing over the whole time period almost.
right. That and
So,
then trying to get candy, and then if you're trying to ride, say, Tiana's or Tron during the party, you could potentially waste a lot of time there, especially if Tiana's breaks down or something during that time, thinking, oh, I'll get a low weight going during the party, but not
it's hard to
necessarily.
it's kind of hard to measure, but I think Tiana's has not been down as much. However, from what I've heard, I think part of that reason is similar to the Rise effect, right? Like they started like not running some effects in this, like sacrificing some effects in the name of reliability,
Right,
right?
just to keep the thing
And even
running.
then, it's just marginally better reliability.
Yeah. Yeah, I've ridden Rise enough to where I've seen something not working almost every time I've done it that was working, the first few times.
But the big one is the guns. Like they just
Yeah.
gave up on the guns. They seriously, they just gave up on the guns. They had to have.
I think the last two times I rode Rise, the lightsaber effect coming through the elevator roof thing is not worked right.
Really?
Yeah.
That's like a crucial effect, actually, for the ride.
You would think. And there was one time we were riding it with some friends that had never done it before, and I was like, "Oh, wait till you see," and then nothing happened. Nothing came through the roof. I was like,
Well, you see this effect.
"Okay,
Never mind.
never mind. Nothing happened.
Right.
It didn't even happen at all." Yeah. So
Although I guess one thing they can't really screw up that's a really good visual is when you first go into the room with the walkers. That's still kind of a
yeah,
amazing thing to see every time you do it.
you just don't spend enough time in that room either.
Yeah. It's just really cool to go in there and see all that.
Maybe because don't they have like a giant mirror in the back that kind of makes it look like it's a much bigger, like
Do they?
like the room goes beyond. I think there's like a big mirror or
I
something.
don't know. The perception, they do a good job of making the walkers look like, because there's no way those things are to scale, obviously, but
Well,
they do a good job of
they're
making it
pretty
seem that
big.
way.
I mean, pretty dang big.
Yeah, I don't
Even
think that's
still.
just what. If you look in the movies, though, there's no way that's to scale, is what I'm saying.
I mean,
You know,
well, it can't be that far off because, I mean, Luke
I think. See, they're doing a good job.
repelled it.
They've even,
Fooled me.
yeah, they fooled you. They gave you, this illusion has worked on you.
I mean, they're
Anyway,
still pretty big.
well, yeah, they have to be. I
They
mean, they
didn't
couldn't just be like,
actually build them for the movie either, by the way.
well, no, no, but the perception, like, I mean, for instance, Luke, like, is not even taller than the foot of the thing, and like you can see if you look at Finn in comparison, he's like halfway
Yeah.
up the leg or whatever.
No, if it's that. But still.
That's why they have him sitting. That's why they have him sitting down in that most of the time.
Not really.
Crouching.
Okay.
It's probably to keep that illusion.
Either
I don't know.
way,
Go watch a video.
I just wish they had a chicken walker in there.
Oh yeah, that would be interesting, wouldn't it?
That was my favorite.
Anyway, I don't know how we went down this. We always go down off
We
on
do.
a trail every once in a while,
Usually.
but yeah, it's inside of 2 months. We're going to be going in October. It's also around the time of my wife and I's anniversary.
Mhm.
Well, again, I think I said this on the show. We were originally looking at a Disney cruise, but we didn't want to pay for just because it was a holiday weekend. We didn't want to pay like twice the amount you could pay. Oh, and it was almost the case.
Yeah.
So we adjusted.
Mhm.
Although Animal Kingdom's not exactly cheap, but I think it's slightly better than what we were going to end up having to pay for the cruise. But
Really. And the Wish has always been like higher price for some reason every time I've looked at it.
yeah, I mean it's higher than the older ships, but that's usually how it's gone. Like the Dream and the Fantasy were higher priced than the Magic and the Wonder as well.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's
Well,
just how it is.
newer costs more.
Yep,
Speaking
pretty
of,
much.
Speaking of newer costs more, I had looked at the prices for those after hours events next year. I think 2025 pricing.
Mhm.
I wish I remembered what I paid for I did one of the first after hours at Magic Kingdom back in like 2018 or 17, whatever year it was.
Mhm.
I think it was like $99, but I can't remember what it was back then. But it may have even been like $79. I don't remember for sure.
Yeah.
But for Magic Kingdom, it's at least $175 to $185 for the after hours, which
Uh-huh.
and I think Hollywood Studios is a little bit less, and then Epcot is about the same, maybe a little less than Magic Kingdom. But golly, I just don't know that it's worth. That's like paying for a party ticket with no party.
Well, I can say from my experience at Epcot last year, it was not worth it overall.
Yeah,
Even though you got the ability to do Guardians without a boarding group or a line and lane, it didn't seem to matter because you still got stopped in the same places.
yeah,
And it still took a pretty good while to get there. Because, usually you buy these tickets thinking, oh, well, I can take some of these popular attractions and not have to wait as long.
right.
Not necessarily true with Guardians, for instance, or Test Track for that matter, because they have pre-shows that take time and they don't skip them.
Yeah, right. You still have to sit through them, yeah. And
Yeah.
you only get 3 hours.
Yeah, and we ended up missing out on Ratatouille, I think. We did most everything else, but we ended up missing out on Ratatouille
Wow.
when it was all said and
Well,
done.
I mean, especially at Epcot, it's so big. Like it takes 3 hours to walk around.
Yeah, and see the thing is like again, I was talking major attractions you want to try to get at a low wait time, right? That's one of the main reasons people do this. Well,
Right.
if you sell so many tickets that it doesn't really make that all that low of a wait, you're not getting what you paid for really.
Right.
So what I essentially got was okay, so yeah, over there on what is that? That's not Future World anymore. What's it called now? I forgot the name. Anyway, this is before
World
it changed
Celebration.
technically. Yeah, this is before it changed technically. So Future World West, right? So that's
Right.
Living Seas, Land, Imagination. Like there was nobody there, right? Like it was totally dead. However, during a regular day ticket, I could have gotten still a pretty not crowded Living with the Land ride, right?
Uh-huh.
However, the only difference was during the party, you literally got a boat to yourself. I mean,
Right.
that was that
Right.
was the only difference, right?
Yeah.
So because most everybody was crowding
The
the
popular
e-ticket
stuff. Yeah,
attractions,
exactly.
right?
Yep.
So it didn't help much if that was your objective.
Right.
That's the other thing with these party tickets. They're selling so many of them that it's not really that exclusive anymore, and they're not even trying to sell it as that anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're not even trying to sell it as that anymore. Yeah, you might get slightly lower wait times, but it's not that much lower.
No. Yeah. Not really. I mean, it's less crowded than the party, but you also have less time. So
What I mean, no, I meant the parties itself, though. The parties,
Oh,
I think
right.
they're selling more tickets there. The parties are more crowded than they once were.
Yeah, probably. Although I feel like they've scaled it back a little
Tried to make it exclusive again.
a little more, but because that's why they're selling out so much these days.
Well, if they deliver with the experience and people are happy, then it'll work. But if not,
Yeah.
then they'll eventually stop buying it.
Right. Yeah, these just seem a little too, because these are basically the same price as the party tickets. I feel like you get way more for the party than you do, even if there's less crowd at these after hours events. The extra things you get with, fireworks and parades and candy or, treats that are included with the
Right.
ticket. And with Christmas, you get the decorations and the exclusive Christmas parade and the snow on Main Street and all this stuff. It's like, it's way more, the stage shows, there's just way more going on that to me make it worth it over the after hours. But
You're talking about in comparison between the two?
yeah,
Yeah, I guess.
to me.
But I might also be looking at this from like older eyes now, looking at it through,
Yeah.
that I might not have looked through once upon a time.
I mean, if you wanted to just ride a bunch of stuff with lower weights, I mean, but you could buy Genie Plus, or
It'd
sorry,
be cheaper,
not Genie Plus, Multipass, and
and it'd still be cheaper
it'd be cheaper than this. So I don't know.
than buying it, especially if you know how to work multipass, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And boarding groups, and yeah, I'm hopeful. Here's another thing though. When I'm going into this like having certain things that are targets and not trying to do everything. For instance,
Mm-hmm.
it's more like, okay, we want to do this, this, and this, and if
Right.
we get those in, anything else is a bonus type deal.
Makes sense.
And the objective is to spend more time at the resort itself and doing some of the other things, like maybe mini golf, for instance. We've never done that. So
Which one do you want to do, the Fantasia or the Winter Summerland?
might intake both, but if I'm going to do just one, I think we want to do Fantasia because it looks like it's more fun.
Well, the Fantasia looks more like, I don't know. It's
I
more,
think they have more than one course, though, don't they?
yeah, but I think it's more realistic looking versus Winter
Versus
Summerland is more
Winter Summerland, I mean.
friendly, I think. I don't know. That's the only one I've done, though, is the Winter Summerland.
I've always thought back in the day, like, they would give these discounts for after 4 p.m. on that. I always thought that would be like the opposite, right? Because who would want to be out there in the middle of the day
Right.
playing mini golf in Florida?
Unless, yeah.
You would have thought you would need to offer the discount to get people to come out in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
You would think.
And there was
But,
supposedly, I think there are some discounts still to it, but I thought they still gave
haven't seen
vouchers
any-
for it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
They used to be included in one of the tickets, I think, like for free.
Right. You used to get it free with, remember back in the day when they sent those.
The water parks and more type deal. Yeah.
Yeah, but what did they always, when they used to mail you the like itinerary, they would always give you the like voucher book.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, I think they had Wild World of Sports in there. They were really trying to boost that attendance.
And it was like, oh, I remember one time it was like, oh, get a free gift at Planet Hollywood. So we ate there, and it was a terrible
gift.
It wasn't that great, but it was like a keychain or something that said,
Yeah.
I was like,
I remember eating in Planet Hollywood. I don't remember what I had there.
I remember it was very loud, and it was,
Yeah.
it was okay.
I don't know if maybe my taste buds. I'm like, I'm not super impressed by a lot of things, and then at the same time, like, if it's as long as it's edible, I'm like, this is all right. I'm good with it.
Yeah.
There's
definitely some that are better than others, though. Yeah.
Well, yeah, of course. Like, I would never put, like, I don't know, what's a good example? I would never put, like, California Grill and Tony's on the same level, I'd never do anything like that.
No, as you should not, yeah.
But, I mean, and even with even though I hate the fact that they changed their menu, California Grill, that is.
Oh, right. Oh, yes. The
changed it to the prefix, yes. I really hate that, so.
Part of me understands it. If you were showing up to just watch the fireworks and you order an appetizer and just sit there for 2 hours and don't leave,
Yeah.
I get that, but at the same time, it's like I want my freedom to just order what I want, because I always get sushi, and then I'll get the flatbread for the kids, and then I'll get a steak or something. I just want the option to not have to force me into a specific thing.
The only places that I don't mind I guess you call it prefixed, is the family style. I don't mind them so much there.
Yeah.
But some of them, you don't get your money's worth because the kids don't eat anything. So.
Yeah, I think the last time we had at Garden Grill, I don't think the kid, God, they didn't eat. They ate the sticky bun. They ate some, what else did they eat?
I think the amount of food, though, at Garden Grill is the least reasonable. It's not like the one that's
Yeah.
unreasonable is Ohana.
For dinner or for breakfast?
For dinner.
Yeah, dinner is insane. Yeah.
Dinner, I mean, it's like, there's no telling how many pounds of food they throw away in a day.
Yeah.
I mean, this is ridiculous.
Because they
Or
just
whatever it
bring
is
you
they
too
do with it.
much. They used to anyway. They just brought you way too much food to begin with. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when we ate there with our friends. It's been a few years back now. When like the food they were taking away, the massive amounts, he was like, "Man, I hope they get it like a homeless person or something.
Right. Just
Give it to some
something.
homeless people or something." I was like, "Yeah, it'd be nice if they did something."
Food bank or
But
something.
yeah,
But yeah.
there's no telling what happens with the. I mean, it probably mostly gets thrown out. I
Right.
mean,
Half-eaten chicken wings, you're not going to just give
yeah,
that to people.
I
Don't
think
they?
that's what in that Nickelback song. I think they were singing about Ohana when he said we could feed a starving world with what we throw away. I think they were talking about just that restaurant.
Just that one alone.
uh,
Don't they have a waste to energy plant where they do food waste?
I don't know.
I feel like I heard that, but
It would be nice if I mean, maybe I need to look into that to what they do with their. You would think they would want to advertise that, right?
yeah,
With what they do with their throwaways. But anyway, we spent a lot of time talking about various things tonight.
it's kind of how it goes. It's a slow news week.
It really is.
This is an old news story, but it says there's a clean tech company that converts organic waste into energy and converts leftover food scraps from Disney World restaurants into fertilizer and electricity. Harvest Power.
Okay.
So,
Well, at least there's that. So hopefully that's true. That would be nice. That would be more comforting.
Yeah.
Now this might open up into a whole like new discussion that might take longer, but we'll see.
Okay.
I was just thinking the other day, or within this past week, the whole idea of theme park
Mm-hmm.
and what it used to be versus what it's become, right? Like Disney with their theming, like they when they started a park, like everything
more.
fit into the theming,
Mm-hmm.
right?
You're opening a can of worms.
Am I? Yeah. So, like, say, for instance, even Magic Kingdom, right? It's
17 land.
It's just that it's a Magic Kingdom, 7 themed lands. Each land stuck to their theme,
Mm-hmm.
right? And for the most part, still do.
This
Fantasyland's kind of hard to mess up because it's based on
fantasy.
complete fantasy, so it can be whatever.
For the time being.
Yes, for the time being. Tomorrowland has pretty much been untouched, stuck to the theme, right? I mean, is there anything you would make an argument otherwise? Maybe Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor doesn't really have anything to do with the future or
Right.
tomorrow, but
Yeah, not really. Buzz Lightyear, I mean, is it futuristic? I mean, kind of, but
well, he in his own right is futuristic, right?
I guess.
Space. It involves space. He was an astronaut, for crying out loud.
Sure.
Anyway, Space Mountain, pretty obvious.
Tron.
Yeah, Tron. Even though it's a digital world, but that's very futuristic in itself. So.
The Speedway. It's very futuristic.
Right.
Gas-powered go-karts are the future.
They're the future. That's where we're all going to be riding into the future.
Yeah, exactly.
Speeding around the world that way. Okay.
The Joffrey's coffee stand. Very futuristic.
Yeah. But anyway, Adventureland, still pretty much everything over there is
adventurous.
Takes you on an adventure,
Mhm.
right? Frontierland is soon to be not Frontierland, really. Yeah. I mean, I know they try to sell it still as a different frontier, but I don't know that that's going to go over as that.
You got to redefine what a frontier is.
Yeah. That was speaking of Frontierland, I know I'm going off on a rabbit trail again. Something else they didn't even talk about was, like, they didn't say anything about the potential retheming of Pecos Bills.
Yeah, I know.
It's like it's sticking around.
Yeah.
And they already have a Tiana's Palace in Disneyland, right?
Right.
So it stands to reason that that's where we thought, it made sense that they would retheme that to it, but they have not mentioned a thing.
Right.
And this Tiana's is already open.
Yeah. And you go through the queue and everything's about food. And
Right.
The whole thing is, it,
And then you get just a beignet stand or whatever. That's what you've got so far.
yeah, which is the old fry stand area.
Yeah. But anyway, that I just had to go on a side trail. No one mentioned anything about that.
Yeah, they need to do something
Oh,
there because it's
yeah.
doesn't fit either. But
Well, Pecos Bills is just, for whatever reason, it's not what it once was.
no, I mean, when they took the toppings bar away, they really like.
They kind of sealed the doom of it.
I was like Joey on that episode of Friends. This is where I get my money back. The toppings bar, man, I would load up.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That sounds like people on the cruise line whenever it comes to the food. This is where I get
right, exactly. Those
Adam got
chicken
his
tenders,
back in chicken tenders.
totally, dude. So many chicken tenders.
Adam like stops at every little stand. Is like, do you have chicken tenders there?
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
literally every time we walk by, I was like, "There's no line. Like, I'm just gonna get some anyway." Like,
Do you believe this?
I just ate chicken tenders like 5 minutes ago, but there's no line.
It's like, hey, can you believe this? There's nobody waiting. You got to stop.
Exactly. I was like, I might be hungry on my way to the next place we're gonna eat.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
Anyway.
I got to go back to my original thing that I was going to mention.
Yeah.
Like, we always go off into rabbit trails, but I think it makes for a good episode.
It's all over the place.
You never know what we're going to talk about here, folks.
Yeah.
Okay, so Epcot's original theme seemed to all blend together and fit, right? Epcot's original theme.
Sort of like World's Fair permanent thing. That's kind
it
of
all
the
seemed to all come together.
Yeah.
Even Hollywood Studios, very consistent when it was open.
Well, it was a studio. I mean, it was kind of the point. Yeah.
Working studio. It has probably lost its way more than any of the other four.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Until Animal Kingdom opens Central America.
I was just about to say that. One of the things that I'm sad about is Animal Kingdom has, for the most part, been true to its theme.
Right. Involving animals of some sort.
Not be. Yes, and it's soon to not be.
This whole corner of the park will have nothing to do with animals.
Well, they're going to try to put some in there.
Yeah.
It's almost like they're forcing this, though. You know what I mean?
Right.
With the animals.
Right.
The connection.
Yeah.
But I'll hold out until I see how they do it, I guess. With the exception of Indiana Jones, because there's just no way you're going to convince me that has, that you're going to do something animal-wise with that. I mean, come on.
Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes? Asps.
Very dangerous.
You're
going to say, oh, that's just my pet snake, Reggie.
Yeah. Maybe they'll put Reggie in. Maybe they will have like a snake exhibit.
Snake exhibit over there.
Yeah, you can walk through in the queue. It'll be like a snake.
You can be face to face with a asp.
Yeah. Hopefully behind glass like you were in the movie. Cobra.
You couldn't see that glass.
Well, not since they digitally altered it, but yeah, back in the day, you could totally see the reflection of the Cobra.
I do remember that. Yeah, I do remember that. It was not that noticeable, but if you were looking, you could see it. Yeah. if you were trying to find it, I mean,
okay.
Not just
if you just happen to be looking at the screen.
By looking, I meant trying to find it.
Right.
By looking for it.
I got
it. Not looking at the screen. I need to find an old copy of Raiders.
Yeah, the VHS copy would definitely, you'd notice.
I'm sure I still have that. The question is, I don't have a VHS player.
Yeah,
but I have to go and find one of those next.
Yeah, you have to get those on eBay or something.
Yeah, maybe if I send, is there a copyright issue if you send iMemories, like a VHS of an official movie, for them to convert it to digital?
Probably, yes. There is a copyright
instead of your home movies.
There's a copy warning thing on it.
So they probably won't convert that one for you.
Yeah, send it back.
Anyway, well, I mean, I've already bought my copy. It's not like I'm selling digitally the other copy.
High quality VHS.
Anyway, I actually did back when I had the VHS hooked up to something like, I don't know, what was it, like Pinnacle or something. I actually did convert a couple of
yeah, you used to could
VHS movies to digital that I had. Just a couple though, but that was a long process.
Oh yeah, because you have to do it
some time.
In real time, right? I think you had to play it in real time, and it would encode it as it was playing. Yeah.
Yeah. So you
for
had to watch the
VHS.
entire film, essentially. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, that I digress. I did do some of my home movies on there that way. I'm glad I did because I already had copies of those. Although I
Oh,
sent
we
some of them off to get digitized. Um, yeah. So yeah, that's the thing I hate is Animal Kingdom was kind of like the last man standing when it came to theme,
cohesive
right?
theme. Yeah.
Being a cohesive theme. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was one of the best well done themes too. So
Yeah, it was.
anyway, yeah, I
All
tried to
right.
keep that short and sweet in there, but maybe that's another topic for another time. Might
Yeah.
go deeper than that.
We definitely could have.
But yeah.
Okay.
All right. So I think that's an entire show. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and X. I always keep wanting to say Twitter. I think a lot of people do though. And Instagram. That is all at TWTM Podcasts. We have a Spreadshirt store in which you can get your exclusive TWTM merchandise. That is shop.spreadshirt.com/TWTM Podcast. We have a YouTube channel, and you can find links to that and another store, Adam, where?
Our website, travelingwiththemouse.com. Email address is podcast@travelingwiththemouse.com. And right now you can get your Challenge Runner shirt on TeePublic, which is linked on our website.
So for Adam, this is John. This has been Traveling with the Mouse, and we hope you will join us on our next. And now.
Bye. Bye.